And now, moment of truth, did we get the pin on the map? Boom! Hey, good morning guys, I'm the Tech Prepper, hope you're all doing well. I'm out here in the Tonto National Forest, and today we're gonna do a freestyle video. I have not done one of these in a long time. Mostly I was not able to line up anybody to help me with my No Random Contact series. I was hoping to do some digital modes on HF with FL Digi, and the few people that had the capabilities would prefer that I not share their identities. So we're gonna have to wait for a couple weeks before I can line up some people to help. So the whole point of these freestyle videos that I do about 3 times a year is for me to go out and relax and just test gear the way I do. So longer video, but today we're going to take a look at HF. Got 3 different antennas. We're going to play with 40 meters. I've got a station at the house running digital mode capabilities, and we're going to traffic data. In fact, I'm going to show you a sneak peek of my EmComm Tools software project, and I'm going to show you how I actually can send my position over HF that uses maps. Really cool stuff. We're going to talk about anything and everything. Today I've got with me 2 antennas. I've got the ATOS 25. It's an antenna I haven't used in about 2 years. It's a manually tuned antenna. It's a vertical. So we're going to see how that works with my horizontal at the house. So lots of message passing between myself and the house. And heck, I even picked up a new tent. It's the Gossamer Gear 1. It's a ultralight trekking pole based tent. So never set that up, want to try that out. So if you guys are interested in just me hanging out in the field, running experiments, no time limits, sharing with you some things I'm finding, stick around. All right, folks, so this is the ATOS 25. It is a manually tuned antenna that covers 10 meters through 40. Today we're going to tune this up for 40 meters, specifically tuned for 7.081 megahertz. And I've showed this in the past, but this was a custom bag that I had a neighbor make for me a couple years ago. And the antenna is pretty cool. It's a little bit of a pain, but it's got a few ground radials. So I have 3 or 4 here. We have the antenna itself, so not terribly bulky. I took some PVC tubing and I put the radials in here along with the VHF, UHF elements inside here. It's been working great for a couple years. I've got some very lightweight RG316 coax with a PL259 connector on one side and B and C on the other, and this allows me not to have any connectors. I know this is high loss, but we're down in HF, so not a huge deal. And then I always like to have a small Altoids tin. So this has some of the other components for the antenna, as well as some connectors and Allen wrenches. All right, guys, for the deployment, I've shown this on the channel. I'll put a link somewhere on the screen. I'm just going to use my tripod. I don't have a good ground stake with the 1/4-20 threads, so this will have to do. And we'll do this in, what do you call it? Fast forward, fast speed. All right, so here's the threads. We're just going to go ahead and thread on this guy. All right, time for the ground radials. This is definitely not my favorite antenna. There's a reason why I stopped using it 2 years ago. But I'm curious to see if we can do vertical polarization here with the horizontal Chameleon Child Left's 8010 at the house. So the ground radials are the hardest part to set up with this antenna setup, or the most time consuming. Mind frame? Okay, so here is the PVC pipe, and I have a few of the elements. So for 40 meters, we're gonna need all 3 of the elements. That guy's stuck in there. All right, pretty straightforward to set up. And depending on which bands you're working, you do need to add or remove elements. The manual, if I recall correctly, talks about that a bit. And this antenna is actually interesting because it also comes with 2 meter and 70 centimeter radials. I actually don't use them anymore. I may just drop these from the overall package. And then in this little Altoids tin, these smaller footprint ones are really nice. We've got this section here to allow us to attach the elements. All right, so before I connect everything up, let me just kind of show you what we're working with here. So there's the tripod. We've got the The ground radial is connected. We have a spot for the SO239 here, and then going up, ooh, I don't know, maybe 8 feet. And then this section goes up and down. We're gonna move it all the way up for 40 meters. And if I recall correctly, I created a doping chart, and you can hear the audible clicks. And I can't remember how many clicks I did. I think it was like 10 or 15. And then you can do fine adjustments by rotating it. So I've got the Rig Expert analyzer in the pack. It's huge for this application, but I trust it more than those crappy Chinese nano VNAs. All right, so I've got the Rig Expert Zoom connected up. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but not too bad. We're at 7.27 megahertz at an SWR of 1.62. And to adjust this, let me just show you. We're a bit long, or sorry, a bit short. We need to lengthen our antenna, so I have to go up a few clicks. We have to go up about 200 about 200 kilohertz or so. Actually, come with me. We're gonna do this one-handed. Let's do, I don't know, 5 clicks up. 1, 2, 4, 5. We'll do 6. And then all we'll do here, hopefully this comes on camera, we're gonna go ahead and try that again. And we're down to 7.130 kilohertz, so about 50 more kilohertz. Let's go up. What do you guys think? About 3 clicks? Maybe 4? 1, 2, 3. Oh, and this is going to be travesty. I am considering getting a Xiegu X6100 for lots of reasons, but that one also has a built-in SWR analyzer. All right, so this is going to have to do. We're at 1.89 at 7.07, so 10 kilohertz off. It is what it is, guys. This is a field video. Yesterday at the house when I was testing this out, I actually was able to get closer to like 1.06 SWR. All right, so one of the other favorite pieces of gear that I have, in fact, for Black Friday, I'm gonna do my top 10 favorite pieces of gear that I've had for the last few years that you can buy if you wanna help support the channel on Amazon. But one of them is the Eberlestock Fact Track. And I love this pack because a number of features, but it holds all the gear nicely. So today we're gonna be looking at the CF-20 Toughbook that's inside the waterproof bag. This is the dry bag. It's the 6-liter Osprey. So we'll use that for digital data modes. I've got some extra antennas here, basically to do just about anything all the way up to 80 meters. We're probably not going to play with this today. And then the star of the show is going to be the ttpmanpack. This is running the Yaesu FT-818. So that's it for digital capabilities. So this is the ttpmanpack. It's a bag that I'm designing and just getting ready to share with about 75 of my closest friends. So we've got the antenna connected up here. We'll turn on the rig. I'm already on figures 7.081. It's locked and we're set for digital mode. And the cool thing about this bag setup that I have is I built internal pass-throughs. So for those of you guys who don't like cables, there's just one. This is the interface to the digirig, which is mounted on the inside. So that's it for the radio setup. We just got to boot up the laptop. All right, guys, now for the fun stuff. I've got the CF-20 connected to the FT-818. I have my special software that I have not released called EmComm Tools, and it does a bunch of stuff like offline mapping. It does SMS text messaging in a very simple interface, offline email, offline keyboard-to-keyboard chat. But today, we're going to use a capability that allows me to share my current GPS pin and traffic that over radio. Now, under the hood, hopefully this all records, we're using something called FL-Digi. And FL-Digi has a ton of modems for different applications. Today, we're actually going to use MFS K32. It's good for HF, good for low signal to noise, or when there's in terms of poor signal to noise ratios. So very happy about being able to potentially doing some of this. I just want to make sure my radio tunes up real quick. So we're going to hit the tune button and the PTT was triggered. Let me make sure that we're on 7.081. Okay, so now what we're going to do is actually, let's clear this screen so you can see it. We're going to try to traffic that pin of my current location. And to do that, we basically select the active pin here, which is me. We're going to click share. And when I hit share, it's going to create an FL message payload by my application and use FLDigi as the transport. So it's transmitting right now. And if we look at FLDigi, you can actually see there it's sending a custom FL message form that I've called EmComm Tools POI for point of interest. And the goal is for my station at the house to pick this up on HF. It's also running EmComm Tools, so if everything works and it's able to decode, it should be able to show it, one, in the FL message console or FLDigi console, but also show it on the map in real time. So one of the things to keep in mind with MFSK32 and some of the modes that are designed for HF, some of them take quite a bit of time to traffic. This is a very small set of data, and you can actually see right now it took us 49 seconds to share that pin. So limitations with radio for sure. I want to make sure that we're not going to, let's do this experiment one more time. And one of the cool things about EmComm Tools is that I can go ahead and edit this and put some notes in here. And the note that I want to put in, for example, is, let's say, we'll do it in all in caps, FT-818, 6 watts. And we're running the ATOS 25, and that's it. And we're going to go ahead and reshare that pin. And I'm hoping the other station again will pick this up. I've got a screen recording running. So again, here we see the basic headers for FL wrap. It's a way of wrapping the message. And hopefully, right now we should be doing line of sight communication on HF, potentially even ground wave. I'm very close to the house, no more than a mile away. But the point here is just to test whether I'm able to deploy an antenna, tune it in the field, drop the manpack, and then run my software. I'm really curious to do HF with EmComm Tools. And again, my whole point with all of this here is to make it easy for operators by providing a much more simplified interface. And now you can actually see the notes on the screen. It's trafficking FT-818, 6 watts, ATOS. So the more data you add, the longer it's going to take to transmit. And we came in at 51 seconds there. Now the other test I want to do, since I don't have the keyboard-to-keyboard messaging in place yet, is to change our mode. And we're going to switch over to Contestia 4250. And this mode is interesting because it's a little bit faster than like the Olivia modem, but it comes at a cost. It comes at a reduced character set. So not all the characters are supported. So we want to make sure we're transmitting everything on cap locks. Things like less than and greater symbols are not supported, so it turns them into question marks. So I'll just put keyboard to keyboard test, and I'll put FT-818, 6 watts, and then we're going to go ahead and let it transmit. So I have my TXID enabled. What that's going to do is tell the other station that it needs to switch modes. So let's go ahead and send that off. Here we go. So you can actually see there in the waterfall, it is sending the TXID, and then all of the characters in red are the characters that are being sent. And then we're going to close with my FCC call sign to stay legal. All right, and that took 18 seconds. So hopefully you get the point. The plan is to go back to the house and see if all of this actually was received by my station. Again, I'm running a vertical antenna on 40 meters. The house is running a horizontal. We're both running CF-20 Toughbooks. We're both running manpacks. I have the 818, and then the power hog at the house is running the 857. So I'm actually drawing about 670 milliamps at the house. All right, guys, change of plans. I decided to head back to the shack. I'm like a kid on a candy store, or like it's Christmas morning, and I'm very curious to see if those two point of interests were actually sent and received by my station, as well as the keyboard to keyboard transmission. So the Gossamer one, I'm going to have to review that as a separate video. Most people really probably don't care about my gear that I use in the backcountry. Let me know if I'm wrong. Otherwise, that's going to just be a Instagram short. And I know people don't care for the, what is it, the meta overlords. Totally get it. Anyways, I'm also huffing and puffing the ttpmanpack, EmComm Tools. Trying to start a real business here. Has dipped into my trail running and backcountry time. And this huffing and puffing, unacceptable. I'm going to change that, so I may have to back off a little bit. Doing one video per week plus everything else I'm doing with a full-time job is not good for my health. So the reason why I'm doing all this is not so much because I want to be this altruistic guy that's helping out everybody. That's a nice consequence, and I'm glad that that is the case. But I'm doing this for myself and my group, and preparing for real emergencies where we want simple yet effective comms. And part of me being prepared is to be in good physical conditioning. And I used to be a beast running out here at 114 degrees, doing, you know, anywhere from 10, 15, 20, even 30K. So you may see a lot less of me. So I apologize if I have to step back from the comments. I'd love and will continue to read all of your comments, but there's no way for me to continue to be true to myself if I don't start to allocate at least 1 to 2 hours a day of physical fitness and exercise. All right, guys, we're back at the garage. Keep your fingers crossed. Let me see if we got anything. Oh yeah, check that out. We've got both messages there. And we even got our keyboard to keyboard test. Let me stop this real quick. Give me a second to turn on the lights and take off the pack. All right, now that I'm back, let's go ahead and take a look at what we got. So for starters, it looks like we got the first transmission at 1520 UTC. And then a short time after that, we got the next transmission at 1521 UTC. And then we also got the keyboard to keyboard when we switched modes to, don't know if we were running contested there or not, but we got the data. And now, moment of truth, did we get the pin on the map? Boom! All right, check that guy out. That little dude in green is me. That's my home QTH. Let's switch over to it, and we are at a distance of, again, very close, 1 kilometer, and we totally traffic the data. In fact, if we take a look at KT1, yeah, look at that. All right, we did it. So I don't want to keep this video any longer than it needs to, but let's summarize. We basically had 2 manpacks. The station at the house was the Yaesu FT-818ND with the CF-20 Toughbook. This actually is something I want to talk about at some point. This actually is a surveillance station, if you think of it about it that way. I was looking at monitoring some nets. There's a infamous net that will go nameless for now until I talk to the organizers of that group. And I was monitoring all of their traffic for about a week, running the station literally 24 hours a day. So I have a good idea on power consumption and power debt to run on receive the 857, which is a terrible radio for receive. It's like 670 milliamps. And then the Toughbook running FL Digi. So we'll get into that in the future. And technically you could actually set this up without a license. As long as you don't hit that push to talk button or PTT, you can receive all day long. You can completely own this equipment. No problem. So anyways, I'm rambling here, but basically we had a station at the house. We had the Chameleon Cha 8010 outside, the horizontal dipole up at 15 feet. We had in my Everly Stock Fact Track all the gear that I needed for an operation. I even brought with me a couple of extra wire antennas. I had a 17 meter antenna, a 40 meter dipole, an 80 meter dipole, plus the vertical we brought. So lots of good stuff. So anyways, you guys let me know if you like these freestyle videos. I typically like to go off the rails and talk about whatever. Sorry about the rant on me bitching about my health levels, but it is a thing. So with that said, guys, I want to thank all the people on Buy Me a Coffee for supporting me. I do post content there that is private in terms of videos. Occasionally, I actually post there about the availability of my ttpmanpack. That will be very limited release. I talk about some of the merch I'm making, a whole bunch of stuff I do over there to help me transition out of my day job. So with that said, guys, I'm the Tech Prepper. Be strong, be safe, and be prepared.